Tales from the Crypt, Season 3, Episode 10. This one starts out with the Crypt Keeper. He's dressed as a chef, shish kebab. Oh, Bob's not ready yet. All right, let's get into the story. This one stars Joe's boy, Steven Weber. I'm sure if I knew ahead of time that old Steve was going to be in this one, I would have hit up Joe and he would have been more than thrilled to talk about one of his favorite actors, old Steven Weber. He was on Wings. So this one's about a hobo killer going around. There's someone going around killing all the hobos. So it starts out with a couple of gay gentlemen hobos in their cardboard box, and they're interracial. Can you believe it? 1991. Sure, it was the gay 90s, but they were doing that and making them interracial. So progressive. Anyways, the white guy's just like, hey, honey, I gotta go find booze, probably. So he fucks off for a minute, comes back. His common law husband has been murdered. And we cut to old Steven Weber waking up from having sex on a lady. He's freaking out because, oh, my power was turned off because I'm an alcoholic news reporter. And, oh, I'm just not very responsible. So he has to get to a grand opening of a cemetery for homeless people that's being opened. How convenient is that? There's this killer going around that's killing all these homeless people, and this cemetery for homeless people just happens to pop up. It does. He goes, he says, hey, this is Steven Weber. He's talking to the people on the podium who's coronating the opening of this cemetery. More like the closing. Anyways, old Stevie's like, hey, wouldn't this money be better spent on living homeless people, donating to that? It's like, no. There's enough fucking charities who do that. We're just gonna, we're gonna let them go out with dignity and bury them like people, you see. So, okay, flash forward, the homeless husband, he comes in Steven Weber's apartment because old Steven Weber wrote an article, or someone wrote an article saying he was the homeless dude, was the killer. He's like, I'm not the killer. You gotta go to the graveyard after dark and see what happens there. He doesn't. He ends up having sex with one of the ladies who was opening the graveyard, who was part of it, the one he was interviewing or getting press questions from, whatever the fuck that shit's called. So he ends up banging her and having like a little voice recorder. I don't know if they probably still make these things, but with phones and everything nowadays. Kids back in the day, there used to be little devices about yay big that would have a tape in it about they yay big, and it would record audio only. So he had one of those up there, trying to get information out of her. She sees it and says, well, I never, and storms off. When this sex scene happens, it hard cuts to it. And they're like talking or something, like just something, whatever. Then it hard cuts to a sex scene. But the first shot of it is a close up of this lady's face, like biting into Steven Weber's shoulder really close. And when it first goes, the first couple seconds, you're like, is she eating his ass? What the fuck is going on here? It is HBO after all, but then you're just like, oh shit, okay, that wasn't edited on purpose. So he fucks off. He goes back to Spawn Alley to try and find the homeless husband, but that dude's like coughing up blood and shit now. He's like, "Hey, did you go to the graveyard? Did you see it?" "Oh, yeah, I didn't see anything." "Oh, you didn't wait long enough." "Ah, I'm dead now." So old Steven Weber, he goes to the fucking graveyard. He waits and he sees the ground pulsating. So he digs the fucking grave up, which I don't understand how like all the time back in the day. Like I guess you could just go to the graveyard and dig fucking 6 feet by yourself because you see it in movies and TV shows all the time. Like I understand, suspend your disbelief in everything, but they make it seem like it's the easiest thing to do. Sure, the night watchman there is probably drunk, but it would take a while to dig all this, and I'm sure he'd see fucking dirt, or she. I don't know who the maintenance person is, but you'd see all this dirt fly up and shit. And it just, I don't know. It feels like you would get caught and it wouldn't be this popular thing to do. Anyways, he does that. Turns out there's like a fucking door there. He falls through it because he doesn't know how doorknobs work. And he sees like all these coffins and bones and shit down there. He says, "Oh, this is creepy. He sees motherfuckers walking with candles and shit, so he has to hide. He pops in a coffin. It's the fucking homeless husband's corpse in there. And then fucking people pick up the coffin. He's saying, "No, let me out, please." So the coffin gets put down. He opens it up. It's on a dinner table. It turns out the people who were running and opening the cemetery for homeless people were ghouls. Oh, can you believe it? Ooh, when the reveals like that classy, shitty taking off a mask like that. And like the teeth on these people, they're just like normal people, they just look like normal older people. They have normal teeth. But when they take the shitty mask off, like their teeth are all fucked up how it is. And just because I make masks and such for a living, you would need a dental prosthetic and then put the mask over that. It wouldn't be like a teeth part that's connected to the mask and goes like something that goes in, and then it just wouldn't happen like that. So technically inaccurate. Anyways, they turn out to be ghouls, and the fucking broad he was fucking, she's a ghoul too, and they eat them. And Tales from the Crypt. Crypt Keeper comes back. He's eating his meal now, says something about sucking dick. And we're out. It was all right. The design of the ghouls were more vampiric than like actual skeletal ghouls with the fucking noses or the no noses, I should say. And it was all right. I think I liked the last one a little more, but this was okay. Still a little better than the mediocrity we've been getting the rest of the season. But yeah, it was another one. Maybe you'd like one of these vampiric looking ghouls made, or maybe you want a mask of somebody else that you can shittily pull off in a situation that calls for it. I may be able to help you out with that because I make masks, bust props, and do custom work after all. DWNProductions.net to check out all my art. And while you're on the old internet on websites, you might as well go to fastcustomshirts.com. Hundreds and hundreds of reasonably priced t-shirt designs made right here in Old Tejas by Joe and Juan. Speaking of Joe, every Sunday, depending on when you're listening to this, it might be 53 years in the future, and we're no longer here. But yeah, as of now, every Sunday at 10 p.m., most Sundays, again, because I do two of these at a time. And this Sunday, we are off for Christmas. So, again, Merry Christmas. Boygob.com for the podcast. Let's just leave it at that. Until next time, creeps. Boy, Gob.